saludo a Nancy's Trucking World. Aquí andamos descargando leche en la ciudad de Lemoore, California.
Para empezar el corrido, tráigame un trago de vino. Voy a contarles la historia de una mujer que ha sufrido de Durango a California.
Feliz jueves, bienvenidos a otro segmento de nuestro podcast.
Bueno, otro episodio, ¿no? Diría yo.
Otro episodio, muy bien. Estamos muy contentos porque hoy va a ser unos temas de mis meros moles.
Oye, desde que llegaron los invitados hoy estamos así de no. Cuéntame
what
más.
Else?
Cuéntame
We're over
más.
here biting your nails. We want to know more. So it's
Sí.
gonna be a Spanglish.
Sí, va a ser un episodio en Spanglish para todos los que nos ven porque están con nosotros nada más y nada menos que Omar y Jody que están aquí. ¡Bravo!
¡Échenle, cabrones!
¡Bravo,
That's right.
Jody es un licensed PI, right? Es un investigador privado con licencia y Omar tiene su propio negocio y les ayuda a todos los troqueros a librar sus tickets que les den.
Eso es chingón.
Si se pasaron una luz por ir viendo el OnlyFans, no hay pedo. Aquí el Omarcito lo saca del pedo sin problema. ¿Sí o no, Omarcito?
Claro que sí. Muchas gracias por invitarnos. Este hombre es una bestia.
Por lo visto sí es cierto. Nos estuvo contando ahí unas cositas bien interesantes. Y antes de empezar a platicar con ellos, quiero recordarles que nos sigan en nuestras redes sociales, nos den like, se suscriban aquí al canal porque vienen cosas bien chingonas. Para empezar, este 28 de julio, el próximo
viernes 28, vamos a tener un evento súper chingón. Va a ir también aquí el amigo. Vamos a tener comida, pisto, muchachas bien guapas, todo para apapachar a los troqueros porque se los merecen. Está el evento porque es nuestro aniversario, son 7 años, entonces queremos celebrarlos con ustedes.
¿En dónde?
Es para ustedes en Wilmington, por la Anaheim. Busquen en nuestro Instagram, ahí está la información. Va a ser en el
dealer de Huron Freight. Así es que no pueden faltar al evento porque va a haber DJ en vivo, va a haber morras, va a haber
culos perros,
va a haber bebidas, va a haber comida,
para que nos tomemos foto,
perico, va a haber mota. No, eso no es cierto, eso no. Eso no. Pero bueno, ¿qué les parece? Es un episodio donde vamos a platicar muchas cosas muy interesantes. Vamos a ir con nuestros invitados. ¿Les late? Vamos al primer cortecito para dejar todo listo y regresamos con nuestros invitados a platicar de cosas legales y acá. Y,
macabras.
Interesantes. Ahí viene Valentina, ¿cómo no? Ahorita nos vemos, bandita.
Hola, ¿qué tal, amigos? Mucha gente me pregunta cómo puede empezar en esta industria del transporte. Si tú tienes preguntas y quieres que yo te ayude personalmente, llámame o mándame un WhatsApp al 909-489-2172, 909-489-2172. Ahora sí, de regreso al video. What's up, guys? So we're back, and we have so many questions we want to interview, guys. So, first of all,
Valentina.
Hello, guys. I'm back.
So, do you want to talk about what you do, where you come from, and then you could do the same thing as well?
Sure, Mr. Aarons.
Alrighty, I'm Jody
Let
Aarons.
them know where you come from.
I'm a licensed private investigator in California. I do 100% criminal defense. Murderers, attempted murders, vehicular manslaughters, and DUIs.
Oh, wow. Which one's your favorite?
The murders.
The murders?
Why?
They're more interesting. A DUI is a DUI.
Right.
He's a DUI. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. Look what he did.
You don't get kind of
when you
creeped
see
out,
them,
seeing those things?
It's interesting. And you have to look at the bodies and the crime scene as pieces of evidence, not as an actual person, or it will drive you insane. You have to look at it as a piece of evidence, and we can't work that evidence and get the bad guy if we're too
focused on the smell or how he looks,
and the person and what this person was, how they lived, how they died. It's can be very devastating emotionally if you let it get to you.
Do you I'm sorry, aquí estoy, Valentina. Do you have to be...
Ben. Habla conmigo. Come on.
Okay. Do you have to be, ¿cómo lo dices, cold-hearted
Yeah,
sometimes or most of the time?
No, absolutely not. No? Because if you're cold-hearted, you lose your compassion for the victims, for the people. Looking at something and putting it in a emotionally putting it aside is different than than being that emotional person. If I see somebody who I work with that is, like you said, is detached and doesn't, is just detached and is cold-hearted, then it's time for them to take a break because it's not good.
I have a question. So one time when I was little, I was watching Taxi Cab Confessions. So there was a guy that he was a forensic pathologist or psychologist,
Right.
and then that he said that he could never sleep because he could see his victims asking him for help. How true is that? Do you ever get like so connected with the victim?
I get connected with the case, and I think the connected part with me is as I work now on the defense side, and I had a little bit on the prosecutor side, is what am I missing? What did I forget to do? What is there more to do? If I'd done everything I can do because I just get one bite at this apple, that is what I take to bed at night, not the life and the death of the people involved. Is what have I done as a person have I done everything I can possibly do to bring justice to either side, either the defendant who's innocent or to the victim who is also innocent. That was, do I have the right guy? Has the right guy gotten away?
And has there ever been like a mistake?
Yes, all the time. We all make mistakes, we're human. And one of the problems we have with the system, the way it's set up, the criminal justice is, your mistakes, prosecutors and police will not own up to their mistakes. And they make a mistake and they stick with the mistake because they're married to that mistake. And this is how innocent people sit in prison for 30, 40, 50 years to get executed because they're innocent. And not only is this person's life over who's innocent, the actual person who did the killing is out running the streets.
We just had that guy at that meeting, at that dinner, just say, hey guys, I spent 30 years of my life in prison.
No way.
And I am just getting released now thanks to this and to that.
And I will give George Gascon credit because the prior district attorney Cooley, the prior district attorney Jackie Lacey, refused to allow this man to get the DNA testing to prove his innocence. 38 years, I believe, he sat in prison until George Gascon came forward and said, no, we want the truth. We're about truth. We're not about winning. And we have to own up to our mistakes.
Right.
So there is innocent people.
So what does that happen in that case? And if I was thinking about that, the district attorney or whoever's not going to own up to their, to their mistakes, they don't want to reopen anything. So my question is, what happens when this person was let out after 38 years? I mean, don't they pay him something or?
There is a victims compensation fund, and I'm not really, I think he'd get paid $100 a day for every day he was in jail.
Oh, $100 per day?
I think it's $100. I think that's what the compensation fund is.
Imagine.
But
at least there's something there.
It
You know what I mean?
Imagine.
Let's look at it this way. You go into prison at 18, you come out in your mid-50s.
Wow.
What is the compensation for that? There is no compensation.
Your experiences.
There's no price on that.
There is the price of a life, right? What is that value? The value should have been that he was not railroaded to begin with. And the sad part is the prosecutors, and it is in California, to be honest with you, is these prosecutors, and they know who they are, we know who they are so underhanded, and they lie and they manipulate, and yet nothing happens to them.
Right.
Nothing. They are never, ever, ever held accountable.
Yeah. And then some people, for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, they get, get arrested.
The wrong color.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true. Oh, just because he's darker.
He's the Hispanic guy. Yeah, he fits the description.
Yeah.
He's the black guy. He fits the description.
Yeah, we as Latin Americans know a lot of cases where innocent people go to jail. They go for years. They stay there years.
Right.
They get out and they get nothing because that's the system. Yeah, in Latin America.
Or they never get out.
Get out. Yeah.
People have been executed. There was a study that 17% of all people on death row are factually innocent.
Oh my God, that is crazy. And So I have so many questions. You're gonna have to come again. I don't care if I have to pay you. But imagine that
you
case.
had some portals over
Yes,
here. You
that's
hit
where
it. You grabbed it the second I walked in, knowing I was going to take it all.
I know. I was gonna ask you that case about that man that had an island that he was killed in the jail. What was
Epstein.
It? There you go.
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Epstein.
Epstein.
Do you know anything about him? Do you
He
know
was
if he
not a
could-
friend of mine.
I know. But for example,
That's good to know.
did
He was able to do what he did for as long as he did because of he was in the world of extremely powerful and wealthy people who were involved in his exact same conduct. And I'm talking about Bill Clinton on the left and Donald Trump on the right, was right in the middle of it.
even the governor, right? I think I saw it wasn't Newsom. Or
No, it wasn't Newsom. No. But the point,
And other celebrities.
the point is he was extremely politically connected. He was money connected. In Florida, he got these sweetheart deals, and the victims were they were victimized twice. They were victimized by Epstein, and they were victimized by the system.
Yeah.
And I'm a defense guy talking about this. But on the other side of the land, he, at the end of the day, where's he at now?
Dead.
True.
So-
but where's the other bitch at?
Yeah, she's
So-
locked up. She's not going anywhere.
Okay.
How was your first case and what was it?
My
Your first case ever.
as a defense, the first case I had happened to be a family member of Omar's.
Really? What you guys do?
That's a story of how we met.
That's how we met. I'll make it a very quick Reader's Digest. Oh, you people don't remember the Reader's Digest condensed version here. Has a relative, I think was 18 years old at the time. He had a female friend who I think 16 at the time. They were just friends. The father was abusive to the girl. The girl called the relative, come pick me up. I'm tired of being beat up by my dad. The dad was accusing the relative of Omar's of being, raping the daughter and this and that and having all these sex, and he got her pregnant, which was all not true. None of it was true. However, what happened was he picked her up, rescued her. Let's go. I have family members in Tijuana. You can go stay with them in Tijuana to get away from your father.
But they didn't think of coming back or.
Well, you're dealing with
Teens.
kids, 18-year-old
True.
and a 16-year-old, and they don't think things through because that's the development of your brain. So his point was, I'm going to take her to a safe place. He took her to a safe place. Omar came to our offices it was a rainy night. It was
How old were you at that time?
It's about 10 years ago, maybe.
This is about 10, 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah, and because So he came. It was a Friday night. It was raining out. He pulls up in what I would call the cartel mobile.
Was he doing donuts? Because he's known for doing that.
Yeah, he was in a red Corvette with modified exhaust and he drives into South Pasadena.
Traía un Corvette, un rojo, un Z06, bien arremangado también.
So he came in. He told the story.
Hey, but how did I pull up?
You
Yeah, that's Omar.
Did you forget the 180?
I was just, my main concern was I hope the check clears.
No, I couldn't find his house. No podía encontrar su casa, so para parquearme en su lado de él, I had to bust a quick 180
Oh my
So
God.
he told the story.
He comes out, Omar! Is that you? Blah, 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 blah. And then we just chopped it up and we continue with the case.
And so I immediately knew the attorney that was in the office. He had not I knew exactly what was going on. I've been through this. The attorney's an attorney. He's looking at legal stuff, and I go, "Oh, this is complete bullshit." I go,
and who was the attorney?
Jeff Nagao was the attorney. Young guy, very nice guy, very inexperienced, but he was a labor law attorney. But I needed an attorney, let me do my thing. We have to work under the attorney, right? So I worked under the attorney. I said, Omar, where's he out there? And TJ, I said, let's get the cameras, let's go down, let's interview him separately. And I said, this is a LAPD Southwest caper. That's police talk for a crime. I know people in Southwest. I know how they roll down there. Let's go talk to the girl. I got her on video separately. I got the boy, the young man, on video separately. And then I took that up to LAPD, to the detective, and I took the attorney with me. And we went into the interrogation room, and I laid the whole thing out to her. I said, this is what you've got, A, B, C, and D. And the detective said, okay, well, we'll call the girl. We'll call her up. They called her up. They verified everything. Everything that she said that on the video was verified. And she said, I'm not even going to arrest him. I'm not even, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. And nothing was ever filed. He was never arrested. He was never charged. But we got onto the case immediately and were able to get in and give our narrative, our story, our version of the facts right off the bat. And that was the key, and that's the key to any investigation that I do. The faster I get on the case, and I like it when they come in, like right the day they get arrested, they call us, and I go out and immediately start working the case, and that's how we get people from getting arrested if they're actually innocent, because we run the narrative. It's our version that's being told, not just the version of this other person.
Yeah, because whoever tells the story first
is the one that's most likely to believe. The one that calls 911 is the one that's believed if it's complete and utter horseshit.
So let me translate that in Spanish. Para la audiencia de español, este hombre les acaba de explicar en inglés cómo nos conocimos, así rapidito. Era un día donde mi camarada me habló, Nancy, me dice, hey Omar, tengo un pedonón. ¿Qué hiciste, cabrón? What's going on? Cuéntame de volada. No, hombre, pues me estaba echando a mi morrita. Su papá abrió la puerta y nos encontró ahí, bam, bam, y andamos, como dicen, dos con papas dando duro.
Oh my God.
No mames. Hold on. Let me explain this.
Okay.
Este loco sale por la ventana y lo comienzan a perseguir. Sale el jefe de atrás. Hey, hijo de tu chingada madre, te voy a agarrar y quién sabe qué pedo. La morrita también se sale por la ventana. Next thing you know, los dos cabrones están en el carro. They're on their way to like south.
Fuck.
Ni siquiera me dijo, Omar, me voy a ir a cruzar la frontera. Ni siquiera se dio cuenta que esta morrita ni papeles tiene.
Oh my God.
El pinche pedo que terminan en Tijuana, Mickey. Y sin papeles, no mames.
Y siguen ahí todavía, cabrón. No
Cheque. So ahí vamos con este loco, ya le expliqué todo el pinche pedo y vamos a arreglar el asunto, entrevistarlos, agarra sus cámaras, su equipo y de ahí te das cuenta que pues cuando lo entrevistas y comienzan a hablar y comienzan a decir, tú ya entregas esa evidencia a los detectives se dan cuenta en verdad cómo está la situación, la cosa no es en verdad como la miran. Las cosas cambian, la circunstancia cambia y así se tumbó el caso, ni siquiera tuvo, he didn't get charges filed, right?
I have no idea what you just said.
Everything that you just said,
Yeah,
based on the
not
interview.
only did he not get arrested, he didn't get any charges, no arrested,
No me lo arrestaron a mi camarada, no me le metieron
Pero
cargos,
pudieron regresar
nada.
o no.
And here's and the police never even wanted to question him. Didn't even bring him in.
Para contestarte la pregunta, let me answer to that question. Did they came back? No, they did not. No regresaron los
Why
cabrones.
not?
Porque 5 años después el camarada le arregló sus papeles, le arregló su pedo y regresaron residentes. Regresaron como palomita y palomita. Era un besito cada uno. A gusto y contentos. Pero después de un pinche drama, los papás contra ellos, amenazándomelos que esto y esto te voy a hacer. Después 1 año o 2, el compa ya era inquilino de mi camarada en Tijuana, los ayudó a cruzar para acá y la gran familia con el happy ending story de poca madre. Así, no, era una locura. Así lo conocí este hombre por ese caso.
Órale.
como de novela.
It's absolutely the truth.
How did you become friends?
Well, we've never become friends.
I wouldn't call it friendship.
Friends. There was another thing I want to talk about, the Downey case, where I worked it so fast and so hard that they had arrested our guy for assault with a deadly weapon in Downey. He gave this completely unbelievable story. He came in the day after he got arrested. He gave this unbelievable story, this most complete nonsense Okay, well, let me go out and work it. So I went immediately out to started at the Olive Garden and ended at the In-N-Out Burger. Started at Olive Garden, I went out and I started interviewing the manager, and they, the little bits and pieces, right? I said, I need security video. Well, the police were here half an hour and took the video. I went and I followed the crime trail because it went a whole long time. Oh, no, it ended up at In-N-Out. Then he went and got in a chase with a guy and he took out a fire hydrant in that neighborhood.
Hey, hold on. You're confusing me. They ask, how do we manage?
Well, I got to tell the story. We'll tell you.
That's another story.
Another story. So what happened is, every place I stopped, the police were here 30 minutes ago. I called the detective. The detective, I said, look, I've got my evidence here. And he goes, yeah, we got the evidence too. And guess what? We are not only not going to file charges against your client, we have arrested the victim for assaulting your client with a firearm.
Oh my God.
Right. Now, how they met, he came in.
I know who you're talking about. You're talking about.
We can't use names.
Oh, it's all right.
Right?
We'll have to bleep it out.
Okay. He came in, he's at the end of our meeting, our first meeting, and he's got all these friggin' a handful of these traffic tickets.
Oh, now he's talking how we met.
How
Ahora
we
está
met,
hablando cómo nos conocimos, cabrones.
You come in with
Aquí
the
viene
50
Omar
tickets.
Valencia.
I've got all these tickets. They're going to take my license, and because apparently he was driving between LA and San Diego every day or every other day in the cartel mobile. Okay, and apparently
Doing
there was a
what?
problem with
Smashing. En putiza.
There's a problem with this car that it couldn't drive under 90 miles an hour on the freeway.
So, no, that's
Pedal was stuck.
Mickey.
So I said, look, here's how we're going to do. I can handle those stuff. I do traffic tickets all day long. I got a little thing I do, a little sneaky little thing that I do with traffic, totally legal, and it gives you 2 trials on a ticket. And I think I got almost all your tickets dismissed.
Most of them. So let me translate that into
Okay,
Spanish. Para la
okay.
audiencia en español. Aquí el gringo está diciendo cómo nos conocimos. So, así, Mickey, yo llegué con este hombre, trabajamos ese caso, pero después me di cuenta que este hombre tenía como algo. There was something magic about you. So dije, pues, hey, cabrón, can you help me? ¿Me puedes ayudar con un ticket? Tengo como 2 o 3 que todavía estoy trabajando. And he would say, Omar, I know how to handle those. There's something called trial declaration, trial de novo. We can bring the officer into court once. If we lose, we appeal. Let's bring them into court again. I'm like, hey, I don't know none about this, but
I
please
trust you.
tell me. Bring it to
All
me.
the numbers game.
So
I know how
este-
law enforcement plays,
No
and
way.
we got it done.
That's awesome.
Mi lista, cuando yo lo conocí, era como de unos, I think it was like 20 of them. Tengo
Yeah.
una
20
lista como de unos
tickets?
15, 20.
Wow.
Y yo ahorita, en este momento, tengo un paquetón así, tengo como unos 60.
No
Tengo como unos 60.
mames.
No,
¿Y no te han quitado la licencia?
No, hold on. So that's where my issue was.
they're going to take his damn
My
license.
Yeah, that's what
license,
I'm
I was
saying.
already getting the DMV notices. You know how DMV te
Yeah,
manda un notice
yeah,
que te
yeah,
dice,
yeah.
Negligent
Yeah,
driver,
yeah,
be
yeah.
careful, you're getting
Yeah.
estos
Yeah.
puntos. Trucha, cabrón.
Yeah, ponte
ya
pilas.
te tengo en mi radar,
Sí.
andas en putiza
Sí.
y ahí te da un warning. El DMV te lo manda. So I got that later.
Yeah,
I
you
got
got
that
the-
notice. I got with Jody. I said, listen, I cannot lose these cases no more. Yo necesito ganar. I need to win. Yo necesito ganar. I need to win.
Ganar.
Big shout to Containeros out there.
Containeros.
Me recordé de una rola que me,
Oh, sí.
que
Sí,
me
sí,
trajo
sí.
este canijo.
So that is.
So I needed to win. I
Yeah.
needed to ganar. So I pull up to this guy and I said, listen, what can we do here? I cannot keep losing this case. It's like, Omar, you're doing this wrong. And then we got into the procedure. So that ultimately became a system that I'm like, holy shit, now I'm getting cases dismissed. Ahora me estoy chingando los cases, los estoy haciendo
Ya
dismissed.
aprendiste.
Man, fuck that. Yo hice una pinche aplicación. Porque en 2010, remember que salieron los iPhones?
Sí.
Y salieron the app industry.
Yeah.
Salió el iPhone, salió la industria de hacer los apps y todo eso. Me hice una aplicación, Mickey, bien chingona. Ya no voy a perder mis tickets, fuck it. Me dan un ticket oficial, gracias, dame mi ticket, lo pongo en mi aplicación. It goes to my computer. Next thing you know, I got track of my tickets. Pero esa pendejada, cuando lo subí al Apple, ya me estaban llegando tickets de otros cabrones. No. So I'm like,
What does your app consist of?
It's
It's
just
a thing on your phone.
It's just a simple.
It's a little thing.
But like the app that he created.
It's a simple system that allows you to take pictures. Se llama Fix Your Ticket. It tells you some basic questions. You got a new ticket. Toma foto,
and you
capture
could
the
appeal
ticket.
it through the app?
So the app allows you to keep track of your tickets. Esto te ayuda a mantener control, que no los pierdas. So yo este app lo hice para ayudarme a mí. Pero lo subes al internet, se pone public. So si hay una persona que anda ahí browsing App Store, ticket, de repente esa pendejada va a salir ahí.
No mames.
So salió eso y me comenzaron a caer tickets de otras gentes. I'm like, puta, ¿ahora qué voy a hacer? Ahí es donde entró Roberts & Roberts, porque ya no podía trabajar eso yo solo. ¿Cómo vas a agarrar a trabajar un ticket de otra persona
No,
si
pues
no eres un abogado o algo así? Y de ahí, that's how the whole story developed.
And then
And it's been successful ever since?
we made a big business out of it. And here's the key. This is where we killed the competition. You hire a traffic ticket, especially your Class A guys. You pay a ton of money to a traffic ticket attorney, and you lose the case, you still have to pay the fine. With us, if we lose, we pay the fine.
And we appeal.
And we appeal it.
Roberts & Roberts
Dun, dun,
appeal.
dun.
Hey,
Hell yeah. Tradúcelo en español, güey.
So este gringo culero.
And another,
Aquí mi gatito. Miau, miau.
She wants me to translate what you just said right now, so I'm going to tell them what you just said. So el gringo gacho dijo que y es de Guatemala según él.
Ah.
¿De dónde? Chapín, ¿de dónde?
Puro Chapín.
Have you been to
From
Guatemala?
where?
Tengo quesales.
No, ¿de dónde?
No, wait.
Chapín
¿Fuiste
from
a
where?
Guatemala?
La Ciudad, Zona 4.
When did you go?
A year.
A year
I just
ago?
got back. Just
No,
yesterday.
you're lying.
And I came
What
back
part
on-
of Guatemala you
I
went
was
to?
Zona 4 in La
¿Qué es
Ciudad.
eso?
Zona 4.
No sé dónde
No,
es.
pues no, we didn't go to the city. I mean, we were in Guatemala City.
We went
for
to
like a day.
Panajachel.
Okay.
Did you lose your quetzal?
No, I have my quesales.
Hey,
in
don't
there.
lose $100. I just gave you that.
Hold on. There we go. See?
Para que vean.
Ese es un
But
quetzal.
what's the one
Sí.
thing?
We were there like 2 months ago.
Okay, and what's the one thing you know about when you come back from Guatemala? The pollo campero there is so much better than the
Oh,
shit they serve over here.
yes.
Yeah.
But you can bring it. You can bring
On the
it.
plane, the whole
And you
plane
get food
smells.
poisoning too in Guatemala.
And you get food.
Oye, nos descarrillamos. ¿Cuál era la
What the
pregunta?
fuck were we talking about?
No, ibas a decir de qué trata tu app y tu
Okay, the
negocio.
app.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so
You were translating what he said.
Algo rapidito. La app es un sistema que les ayuda simplemente a que cuando te den el ticket, bajas la aplicación, mandas el ticket por la aplicación, no tienes que preocuparte que el pinche ticket ya lo dejaste en el console, lo dejaste aquí, lo perdiste y valió madre.
Esa app es como mi vieja. Llegamos al estacionamiento, agarro el ticket y se lo doy a mi vieja.
Sí,
para no perderlo,
Simón.
Porque este baboso lo pierde todo.
La raza me está mandando los tickets a última hora, se les olvida, se me pasó, lo dejé en el console, ya no supe ni qué pedo. Baja la app, mándalo por ahí, nos llega a nosotros, lo programamos, hacemos un pinche work order, te andamos mandando texto, hacemos un follow-up, and we're on it. ¿Sí me
So, si
entiendes?
son chingones, lo que estaba diciendo ahorita, que son chingones, que si no, mucha gente que como ellos se chingan a la competencia, es que si ellos no ganan, ¿qué pasa?
Oh, muy bien, muy bien. Perfect, now I'm back on track. Este gringo loco dijo que a la competencia nos lo estamos jodiendo por la razón de que nosotros, si perdemos el caso, nosotros apelamos. La clínica no te apela un caso. No les quiero mencionar el nombre correcto de la clínica, pero esa clínica no te apela. A ver, Nancy, dale ahí. La clínica no te apela los casos. Si ellos lo pierden, no la apelan y aparte
No
que el
la
dinero-
apelan y no las apelan.
Aparte que el dinero que les pagaste no lo usan para la corte. So, en lo contrario, nosotros si apelamos y si apelamos y perdemos la apelación de lo mismo que nos pagaste, les mandamos su dinero y que se lo coman. Y ahí quedó. So técnicamente, si no ganamos el dinero, no ganamos la gran ganancia. Nosotros, en verdad, para ganar algo de dinero, Nancy, we gotta get this case dismissed. Because if we get the whole case dismissed, we really earn some money. If we don't really get it dismissed, we gotta pay that money that you paid us from. Hey, where's the profit there? There's really no profit. Hicimos todo este pinche jale back and forth. Es un proceso 6, 7, 8, 9 meses. You know?
So, ¿qué necesitas? Si un trucker viene conmigo y me dice, Nancy, I got this traffic ticket. Are you able? What's your percentage? What's your closing rate for truckers?
80 to 90 success
And what's
rate.
the turnaround time? If I have a Class A driver that says, you know what, I
6
need
to 9
you to
months.
fix it. 6 to 9 months.
6 a 9 meses dura el proceso.
What about for DUIs? Because tengo unos troqueros bien, les gusta chupar.
I'm gonna let my
Les
man
gusta
right here
mamar.
Okay. El DUI trucha troqueros, trucha, porque hijo de su chingada madre. Ser troquero, tener Class A y agarrarte los DUIs. Hay muchos
Ay, sí
moros
está
que han puesto entrevistas de cómo se les ha arruinado
Sí, su
la
vida,
carrera
cabrón.
por ese detalle.
Sí.
So it's a different animal. DUI, driving under the
DUI.
influence, is a different animal. You want to explain, Mr. J.A.?
The number we've got real quick, I know if I can do things quickly. When you're arrested for driving under the influence, there's 2 counts. There's an A count and a B count. The A count is driving under the influence. Means you're all fucked up. The B count is you're driving with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or above. They don't have to prove that you were messed up, just that was your level. And now they have the F count, which is driving under the influence of marijuana, which is
Graba eso.
very difficult to prove. And we have a whole procedure we do if you're arrested for that. It's very important. Now, there's also another thing you must realize. If you get arrested for DUI, you have a Department of Motor Vehicles hearing. The officer will give you a form that if you do not request a hearing within 10 days, your license is automatically going to be suspended.
And this is for Class A?
Anybody.
Oh, wow.
And tell them about the refusals. So they
Okay, we'll
won't
get to the
fuck up.
refusal in a minute. If you do not, even if the case is dismissed in the criminal courts, you're going to have a license suspension because you did not request a hearing within 10 days. That's very important. Number 2, when you get a driver's license, you give consent to test your blood or breath for alcohol or blood for drugs if the officer has reasonable suspicion to believe you are driving under the influence. If you refuse to take that test, you will receive a hard, solid 1-year suspension on your driver's license.
Wow. I did not know that.
How can you prove if you're under, like, if you're high on marijuana? How can they prove that?
That is a whole new podcast, and I would love to do that because it gets really in depth. There is no level of THC in your blood that determines whether you're under the influence or not.
Let's go back to that refusal real quick.
Okay, the refusal. You cannot refuse.
If they're hungry, if they
No,
got the
check this
munchies.
out. A
If
lot
their eyes
of
are
people,
red.
a lot of
If
people
their
make
eyes
that
are little.
mistake.
They're hot boxing it.
I know.
We have an actual client complaining. Well, why and why? Why is it a whole year? You know, he just said it. It's when you apply for that driver license, cuando aplican por esa licencia, you're giving
Your implied consent. You cannot request an attorney. You can't do your Miranda rights. I want an attorney. No, you do not have the right to an attorney. You have to submit to a breath or a blood test, your choice. If you fail, if you say, well, I'll take the blood test, and you fail to complete the blood test, you have a right to go take the breath test. But if you fail to complete them both, even if you, I'll take the breath test, but you're not blowing into it, you're playing games, that's a refusal.
Wow.
That's considered a refusal.
And what's the
with
consequence to that?
1 year hard license suspension.
By policy and rule of
Well,
who?
it's the Department of Motor Vehicles rules, administrative rules, that you refuse to submit.
And can the court do anything about that?
Absolutely not. The court has no authority. And the court can give you back your driver's license and the DMV can take it away. I see that all the time. Right?
Yep.
And I do the DMV hearings. We have to get the hearing, and also what that does is that gives us a look at the discovery, the police report, the body cam, the dash cam, the blood, the breath test before the court sees it. So we know what our defenses are before we get to the criminal case.
Wow.
Para resumir algo rapidito. So, te dan un papel rosita. No sé si han agarrado un DUI. Para los camaradas que han agarrado un DUI o si agarran un DUI, te van a dar un papel rosita. En ese papel rosita, Nancy, está una pinche cláusula así de chiquita con unas letras, no mames, yo creo que medida 10 o size 10 or what's the font
8 or
size?
10.
Dude, the 10 days. That little letters on the notice.
10 days, the DS367.
How big is that size?
It's like 8-point font. You got into magnifying glass.
Esas pinches letras están tan pequeñas, la raza los arrestan, están confundidos, apenas están
saben
saliendo.
leer, güey.
No mames, esa letra está tan pequeña, de aquí a que te
lo
das
ignoran.
que no ignoran. De aquí a que te das cuenta de que está esa cláusula que tienes 10 días del día que te arrestaron para meter esa audiencia. No mames, me llega el cliente y me dice, hey Omar, me dio un DUI, cabrón, ¿cuándo te lo dieron? Pues hace como 15, 20 días.
No mames, ya valiste madre.
Ya valiste madre con el DMV hearing, con la audiencia importante del DMV, ya se te pasó. Pero ¿dónde está eso? Es que yo no sé. Están en los pinches papeles, te los
You
dan.
should do videos about that.
Te dan los papeles. Nobody reads anything.
Nobody reads anything.
Right. But you sign it.
And it's right there. It's right there. You know what I mean?
We have 2 entrances here to the office. Y una dice, that's the entrance. Y they
still come in through you.
No, espérate. Is there a way to get an extension to file a DMV hearing once you miss the 10 days?
Probably not.
It is, but it is discretionary, meaning in English and Spanish, is the hearing officer, you're going to have a good reason why. Now, what it is 10 days from your release from jail,
Oof.
not 10 days from your arrest. So if you're in jail for a day or two, you're in the hospital, we can request to do the hearing after the 10 days, but there's no guarantee, and they can just say no, and there's not a damn thing we can do about it.
El release of jail is usually like within 48 hours.
Yeah.
Usualmente sales del bote ahí que 48 horas después.
Yeah.
So, después de que sales de la cárcel, inmediatamente tienes que contactarnos, mandando la información y te vamos a decir inmediatamente, hey, you gotta file this DMV hearing. Si no metes esa audiencia, tu licencia te la van a suspender, porque that notice only gives you 30 days to drive. Nada más te da 30 días. En 30 días, it's gonna go suspend, se va a suspender. Y te dan la habilidad de pelearlo.
I have literally faxed over the DMV request at 11:55 in the evening of 5 minutes before the 10 days is up, and they'll accept it.
Yeah, of
They'll
course.
absolutely accept it.
I have another question. Yo ando bien perdido. Originalmente, ¿cuál era la pregunta que comenzamos antes de que nos metimos a todo ese
Yo no
desmadre?
sé, cabrón. Pero back to you. What's your most memorable like case? Like what is something that really like?
The one that was most satisfying to me, I think, was the vehicular manslaughter, because the man was absolutely innocent, and it took a lot of work, a lot of work, and it took a long time, and we got the case dismissed before the preliminary hearing, which is extremely
How long
unusual.
did it take you to?
So, but what was the situation like overall? Like, what was?
Is that the case on Alameda Street?
That was in Alameda. This individual it was at night. These are the facts of the case that made it so difficult. He was
Y el compa andaba en probation. Para acabar de chingar. Todavía en probation.
No, he was
With the
on,
Mickeys on the back.
Oh my God.
We look at the discovery and the pictures, and ahí con las Mickeys atrás.
No mames.
Hey, Mickey, ahí traía las Mickeys.
he was on a state prison suspended sentence, meaning if he got in any trouble, he was going to state prison for 4 years.
Y ya era cliente de nosotros.
He was on DUI probation,
Oh my God.
and he was required to have an interlock device, and he had a suspended driver's license. He's driving northbound Alameda after dark. It's Alameda by 24th Street. They're south of Washington. It's a very confusing area.
Las luces oscuras, some of the
Como warehouses, no?
yeah,
Right.
some of the street lights fucked up,
Yeah,
burned.
yeah.
So he runs over and kills a guy riding a bicycle.
Oh my God.
Witnesses stated that he was street racing and all this stuff. And he went to jail, and he was seriously injured. He was pretty messed up. And he was charged with vehicular manslaughter along with everything else. He was looking at some serious state prison time. I remember when I got the case, I'm like, oh, that guy guilty. This guy's guilty. And then I started looking at it. And the first thing that jumped out to me on the police report is they had the speed limit wrong. They said the speed limit was 35 and the speed limit was 40. And then from there, it just they were on the news, was watching the news was on, and this woman was ranting and raving that our guy was street racing in another car and ran this poor innocent guy over. And I'm watching the video, and there's a woman standing against an SUV looking and kind of shaking her head just a little bit. But she'd never been interviewed by the police. She'd never been interviewed by the media.
Details like that.
And then
I
this
got the
footage you're
license
seeing
plate,
is from like
the news media. It
okay.
was actually on TV. And I got the license plate number of the SUV that the woman was standing next to. And I got her information. And I called her, and she laid the whole thing out. The whole thing
So
out.
what had happened?
What happens? This is what happens. Then you develop a whole folder like this.
Oh my God.
The victim, the dead kid, was wearing all black on a black bicycle. He had a lethal level of methamphetamine in his system at the time of his death. He was pedaling, he ran the red light and hit him.
Oh, okay.
And I was able to get the witness to verify now that she was coming up, and she had been driving this street every night for 15 years. And she was coming up, and they had changed the street lights from the regular lights to the LED lights, and a lot of them were burned out. And so I got pictures of the bare wires where where there should have been street lights and there weren't. I got the diagram of the street showing that the painted lines were off. I got the witness said she was driving northbound on Alameda. She sees the guy on the bicycle riding westbound up to the red light. He slid sideways and stopped as she slammed on her brakes, and she almost hit him. She then drives forward. He spins around and starts pedaling through the red light again when our client hit him.
So he was trying to hit her.
As for the Mickeys in the trunk, in the back seat, the open containers, I found out that our guy was collecting recyclable cans on the streets.
You see?
So he had Mickey's, he had Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, water. He had a big plastic bag full of, and he had no alcohol in his system.
So imagínate, Nancy,
okay.
Mickey,
Wow.
Valentina, escuchen a esto. Llegas a la corte.
So the police report, whoa, we found 2 empty cans of Mickey's in the back seat. Well, they left out the fact that we found 32 cans of Pepsi. We found all this other stuff in the back of the car also.
What was the maximum sentence the DA?
He was looking at 8 years state prison, and we ended up, and I got the district, and one thing I always do is I always go to the crime scene around the same time of the incident. I drove with the attorney through Alameda that night, and a guy on a bicycle came out from the railroad tracks, and we almost hit him, and I was going 5 miles an hour.
They have to fix those freaking lights.
Well, we have to fix the crazy people on drugs.
That's
riding
true.
bicycles.
That's
Check it out.
Right. So that is, you don't take the police report at face value. You don't. And that's about
Para
it.
la audiencia española, for the Spanish audience.
Okay. I don't know, you have to say that.
So technically, hey, no, imagínate, llegas a la corte, Mickey, el fiscal te entrega el reporte, tú lo miras así como dice él, en blanco, no mames, este güey la cagó. Pero cuando comienzas a quebrar esa evidencia, comienzas a repasar todo lo que está pasando, la luz ni se ve, esas Mickeys que las ves ahí no es porque están ahí porque lo estás
Porque estaba tomando.
porque estaba tomando. Una vez que tú ya quebras el reporte y lo presentas a la fiscalía, les tumbas ese rollo que traen, ¿sí me entiendes? Cambias el tono. Y es donde vienen los tratos. De 10 años, how much did he do? Like 2 years? Or did we get time, sir? I don't even remember.
Oh, he was angry because the DA wanted him to do jail time for the suspended license, 6 months.
Oh, ok. El trato estaba tan bueno y a veces que así pasa, raza. Hay cosas que tranquilos, cabrones. Si te estamos agarrando, si te tumbamos 10 años y tienes que aceptar un año, son 6 meses, 8 meses por manejar bajo
Pues está
licencia
bien.
suspendida, tienes que agarrarlo, eres pendejo o qué, tienes que pensar, you know what I mean? So, sometimes we run into those situations. It's rare que se nos pongan el cliente medio smarty pants, pero once you explain the situation and then you
of
really
course.
break it down, cabrón,
Yeah,
¿prefieres
of course.
eso o
Por
prefieres
eso.
allá 8 o 10 años? On top of that, estás en probation.
The judge,
You know what I mean?
The judge was not going to accept the offer, the agreement that we had come to. He wanted to put our guy in prison for 4 years for the probation violation.
No.
For driving on a suspended license.
much.
I'm going to
So-
put him away for 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with this, but the deal was done. We did the deal. The prosecutor was extremely reasonable and easy to work with. I had all my facts. We had the experts. We had everything on point. And the judge wasn't going to go for it, but the DA was all on our side, and we were able to get it through. And he only pled to the driving on a suspended license, which is what he was guilty of.
Are we allowed to say how much we charge on that?
We didn't charge damn near enough, I know that.
How much was it? How much was
It
it?
was that much, cabrones. $60,000, hijos de la
Valiendo
chingada.
madre. Hey, you should have charged like fucking 200,000.
It was not a lot of money comparing to some other cases that we've been.
I got
Working
one last one. I'm not going to go into the facts of the case. It was a really bad case. Family member came into the office, and Omar says, "Hey, we've got this case. These are the charges." I said, "I don't want that case. I don't want it." "Well, tell him $50,000. That'll get him down the road. That'll kick him down the road. I want $50,000."
Ese caso está bien perro.
Sí.
Ese caso está chingón.
Son of a bitch shows up with a shoebox with $50,000 cash.
What?
And we took the case and we got an incredible resolution on it. We got a
Good,
very good
good.
resolution. So
Voy a sacar una foto que te voy a enseñar así rapidito para que veas todas las pendejadas que me puse a hacer con ese dinero en la oficina.
I have a question for you. What's the most thing that you like about your job? Like, what do you like most about your job?
Mira, rapidito, Nancy, mira.
Chingue a su madre.
$50,000 en la oficina, Mickey. Pónsenos la pantalla, los puse en el monitor, en el piso, en la tecla.
You gotta go like
That's what I did with the $50,000. I put them all over the office.
yeah, you never know what's going to walk through the door. Interesting cases. It's the same grind, but it's not. It's something different and new every day. I get to meet people I never thought I was going to meet as defendants, as witnesses, as prosecutors, and I think that is what I get most out of it, is I get to help people who need help. They need me.
And
I'm there
on
to
this
help them.
case, Nancy, on this case, we didn't just took this guy's money. We saved him from what? It was rape. It was.
Oh, he was looking at over 100 and some years in prison.
I mean,
Really?
Algo rapidito, este cabrón llega a su casa, ¿verdad? Bien pedo, bucanas y todo el pedo después del party llega.
And at the prelim, the judge was going to put me, Omar, and I in jail.
Yeah, hold on. So llega a su casa, viene acá, bien arremangado. Y le dice a su vieja, pues aquí vamos a atorarle ahorita. Ni madres, pendejo, ¿estás pedo o qué? Y la mujer no lo dejó tener relaciones con él. So este loco, ¿qué hace, Mickey?
Se le echó, le valió madre.
Agarra a esta pinche vieja, la amarra con las pinches cables de la computadora.
No mames.
Se la lleva a un cuarto, se la lleva a otro. Y luego este vato hace una pinche ruleta que dice... te voy a pisar, te voy a poner, te voy a cortar, o te voy a cortar, o te voy a golpear. El pinche pedo que le cayó en golpear y pisar. So este cabrón que la comienza a remangar y todo el pedo. Y por moverla de un cuarto a otro, just for moving someone from one place to the other without consent, what is that called?
That's called kidnapping.
That's kidnapping.
No
Ese secuestro.
way.
Tú no, cabrones, no pueden andar haciendo desmadre y después que anden no de acuerdo, llevándose un cuarto a otro sin consentimiento porque después andan en el bote por
secuestro.
Por secuestro. Nancy, ¿qué traes ahí?
It's a surprise.
Fucking road.
Get it, Miguel.
Hey, Jody, why did you bring the cockroaches?
I'm sorry. I wanted to bring
Hey, ¿qué pedo? ¿Todavía estamos en vivo?
Sí, estaba
Hey, Nancy. No mames.
Whoa.
It went down there.
Mickey, te estás haciendo pendejo.
Miguel, come fucking get it.
Keep going.
Hey.
No, bro.
Do you know why I brought the cockroaches?
Why?
I couldn't find any snakes to bring.
Síganle.
Bueno, mira, algo bien rapidito.
Yes.
Algo rapidito. Este caso lo quebramos con masoquismo.
A la
Con masoquismo.
Con masoquismo.
Llegaron a la oficina llorando, acá bien todo el pedo. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? Me van a llevar a mi viejo 10 años. So, la morra ahí con el fiscal, no sabe qué fiscal, esta entrevista que di no era correcta. Nosotros practicamos masoquismo. Entonces eso que usted mira ahí es placer y gusto. Dice, sí. Entonces cambió la situación y nos dieron un buen trato. And then we ended up getting like a 2-year deal. But either way, aquí estamos para ayudarles.
Pero entonces lo que pasó fue que la mujer lo demandó y después
aceptó que era masoquismo.
Sí, lo que pasa es que ella metió su acusación, metió su reporte, ellos tomaron toda la evidencia, las fotos,
he did the
todo.
video and
you
the
know?
thingy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh.
El fiscal
Wait,
tenía
why
la
was it on
evidencia.
video?
Because he recorded it. He said, hey, cabrona, this is what I'm gonna do to you so you can remember this. Hey, te voy a grabar para que te recuerdes este día. Y el pendejo, pues, la cagó, lo grabó y que la vieja se desamarró, le llamó a la 5-0, la chota, y llegaron, agarraron la evidencia, todo el pedo, y next thing you know, toda esa evidencia terminó en la oficina de nosotros y pues llegaron y les dijimos, hey, cabrones.
Do you know what I call those people?
¿Qué pinche pedo traen aquí? Este caso les va a costar $50,000 y nos trajeron
Les hubieras
la
cobrado
feria.
más.
Nos trajeron la
Charge
feria.
more, huh?
Do you know what we call those people?
Pero este hombre vale los $50,000. Thanks to this guy and that guy did what, a year something?
He got a domestic. I mean, I can't look at the.
He-
I don't
like
remember
a
the
year
numbers.
something.
Este güey
He
se
is
feria,
not
¿verdad?
because these were sex offender
feria, no?
registration.
Pues hay más o menos.
It was sex
Se la
offender,
money.
sex offender registration,
Le quitamos la
A life
registración
sentence.
de ofendedor.
and we got him a very, and there was no defense here. There
So,
was zero defense.
para concluir aquí, no nada más trabajamos tickets normales. Esos tickets normales, esos nos los echamos con un shot, con un cafecito calientito. Nosotros le metemos a lo criminal, a lo duro. Nada más que tengan cuidado porque eso cuesta.
Dele duro.
Eso cuesta dinero y nosotros no atendemos si no hay
Barato.
billete.
And this is real quick. What we do, we got a case like this that is absolutely indefensible. It falls back on our relationship with the prosecutors. If we had not had this relationship with the prosecutors, we would not have been able to get what we got with him.
And that's why they wanted to put you guys in jail.
No.
Oh, they want to put us in jail for
We
some
were in.
stupid
It was
shit.
the judge. I'm not going to name the name of the judge, but she is the sister of a former mayor of Los Angeles. You can look it up. And we were in the back, and I remember the courtroom was really dark. She had the lights turned down, and we were like in the middle of the back row. There's nobody in there. And I had written him a little note, and passed him the note because I didn't want to talk while court was in session. She stopped the court and threatened to lock us both up for contempt of court because I passed him a note.
La jueza nos
In
puso
the
luego.
audience.
Estaban entre la media audiencia, estaban entrevistando, se estaba haciendo el cross-examination donde a la víctima le estaban preguntando lo que estaba pasando. Paró ese pedo para decir a este pinche gringo culero que parara de hacer lo que estaba haciendo y nada más me estaba haciendo una nota y pues no mames, nos puso ahí on blast. Los jueces tienen control.
Sí, a huevo.
Tienen control. Y no hay otra cosa que hacer nada más que pues darles
Pues ya que. Ok, so, para concretar, ¿qué les puedes ayudar tú? ¿Qué pueden hacer? Y give us also a tip because we were talking about that there's a lot of things in the bar. So what can women do to...
Oh, that's
Yes,
right. Okay.
yes.
Okay, let me translate. Okay, no,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. Women that go out alone or with another friend to a bar, the number one, first and foremost, do not become overly intoxicated. Number one, don't overdrink. Number two, if you order a drink or a man offers to order you a drink, you're standing right there in front of the bartender. Make sure those glasses are on the bar directly in front of you, your eyesight, and watch what's going into the drink, and then you take that drink specifically, you take it. Nobody else gets near that
don't
drink.
send the guy to the bar to bring you the drink.
The guy can be standing next to you, and they're so quick, he can just pick it up, put it in, and hand it to you just in one swift move. Your eyeball is on the drink. However, the second he touches it, he's in control of that drink,
Right.
even for a split second.
Right.
That is the number one key. You get bottled water, you make sure that it's sealed up, right? And you always go with friends, and you're watching out for each other. And those are the two main things. And if the problem with these creeps is they don't set off your radar that they're a creep. They're very, very, very good at putting you at ease.
They're
And you gotta
good
be-
looking,
Yeah, they
they
know
have
what they're
money.
doing.
Right, or the appearance
They
of
know
money.
people.
And they're watching you, and they're looking for victims. They're looking for vulnerable people. And if you give off that vibe, I am not intoxicated. I'm watching everything. I'm not missing a thing. You can have a good time and a great evening, but you put that out there that I am not going to be a victim. The man is going to go somewhere else because
Yeah.
he's not going to take that chance.
Yeah.
Because he's looking for the one that is not paying attention.
Wants
it's a
to get
little
fucked up
intoxicated,
and doesn't
a little
care.
bit, and just a little bit. You don't have to be a whole lot fucked, just a little bit.
Just a little fucked up.
Just it's never it's never having a few too many. It's having one too many. That one, right? That will get you.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to be careful.
So mira, rapidito Nancy, tenemos ahorita nosotros 2 casos y este mensaje va para todas las plebitas, todas las morritas que andan allá en los clubs y pensando que la vida está bien fácil después de que sales de ahí. Tú cuando vas a un club y tú sales de ahí, ya traes el cuello acá arriba. Si te das cuenta, las morritas andan tumbando así para un lado y para acá. Luego llegan estos morros, como estás aquí y acá, vámonos a tirarnos un ratito de after party. ¿Qué pasa ahí? Si estás en un rave y de repente conoces a un cabrón que se hace pasar como que tiene dinero, te alucinas. Luego comienzan con esa pinche labia de que, hey, tú estás bien buena, déjate tomo esto y esto, yo tengo acceso a esto, tengo dirección aquí, tengo dirección acá, y ahí van bien alucinantes. Cuando te das cuenta, ya te remangaron, ya te violaron, ya te dieron por donde no quieres que te den. Y yo te estoy hablando del chiquito. Y escucha, hold on. Don't interrupt me. Y ese es un caso. A ver, ahí el efecto. Y ese es un maldito caso que tenemos ahorita. Vamos a defender a este muchacho porque la situación no toda es su culpa. ¿Sí me entiendes? Pero tengan cuidado cuando estén ahí. Sí. Tengan mucho cuidado, ¿ok? Está bien cabrón, los predadores están bien activos y muchas veces no es porque ellos quieran ser depredadores, sino porque a veces la situación simplemente se presta y se da y cometen un error de un lado y cometen el error de otro. Como este caso que tenemos. Este morro tiene 7 años aquí, tiene su casa, no tiene problemas, pero sus camaradas terminaron en un lugar. 2 morras, 4 cabrones. Ya me subí yo, ya terminé con ella. Ahora sube tú. Este cabrón no habla español. Se sube él. Se la está remangando. Y ya cuando te das cuenta, este cabrón ya ni se puede mover. Ya la puso de lado. Ya le dio por el chiquito acá y acá. Y entró en una situación que ya
hasta con SIDA van a
ya
salir.
Cuando se levantó esta cabrona y ya fue con la amiga, ya sintió.
Ya salió por 20 cabrones.
Imagínate cómo lo sintió ahí atrás. Regresaron al pinche club a recoger su pinche carro y luego fueron a regresar a la casa con la policía a decir, hey, me pasó esto y me pasó esto. En primer lugar, ellos no te forzaron. Tú te fuiste con estos cabrones.
Ándele, cabrona.
¿Sí me entiendes?
Sí,
te fuiste con ellos, te remangaste con ellos, se te durmió el gallo, te remangaron duro y ahora las consecuencias. ¿Quién tiene la culpa?
Pues la morra por pendeja.
No, negativo. La culpa en la ley se define bajo las circunstancias y cómo la ley no está para culparla a ella ni culparla a él. Es una balanza. So I'm telling them, who's at fault in a situation like that? The law doesn't go at whose fault. It goes on evidence.
It goes on conduct, evidence. It's,
There's more to it.
I'm speechless here.
¿Sí me entiendes? No, a veces, guacha, llegan los clientes y llegan los familiares. No, pero que esto, que mi hijo es bien inocente y que esto y esto, señor. Yo entiendo que usted dice que esto y esto, pero la fiscalía tiene que revisar la evidencia, tiene que proteger a las mujeres, tiene que proteger a la gente.
Es verdad.
¿Sí me entiende? Ellos no se basan, no, que él hizo esto, que fue muchacho aquí, fue muchacho acá, fue líder acá y esto acá. Eso no, él les vale madre.
Importa.
El momento que sucedió ahí es lo que se está investigando. Exacto. Y lo que se está dando. So, cuidado, pero igualmente, Nancy, thank you for having us here today.
You're welcome. If they have any questions, where can they call you and where can they call you?
Hey, el nombre más famoso es el 213-263-6664. Gringo, say it. 213-263-6864.
Claro que sí.
Claro que sí.
MrCitation.com, ese es nuestro website y ahí andamos.
Aquí le puedo ayudar al Omar a borrarle sus tickets, and then if they have any questions, they could also call you, right?
Manejando emborracho.
Manejando borracho. There you go, ¿ya ven?
Manejando borracho es un ticket fácil, pero lo que es eso de felonies y cosas ya tipo violaciones, peleas, kidnapping, secuestros, todo eso lo tomamos porque este hombre tiene la experiencia y la habilidad de hacerlo.
Sure.
Yo, Mr. Gringo Man, please stay alive for at least another 30 years.
One thing, if you get in trouble, call us immediately. Don't wait. Number 2,
don't wait,
and
call
this is,
late.
Yeah, this is another whole story. Do not give a statement to the police. The police are not your friends.
No, they're not your friends.
More people talk themselves into jail than ever talk themselves out of jail.
Dice el gringo que entre más hablan, más se hunden. Y eso es verdad.
Más
Usted
se
piensa que
meten.
por decirle y querer ser honesto me voy a librar del pedo, pero más te estás arremangando, más te estás hundiendo. Se llama
Más te
self-incriminating.
entierran.
Incriminación.
Más
Por
te la
abrir
meten. Ay.
la boca.
Y sin vaselina.
Pescado, ¿cómo muere el pescado?
Como por la boca.
Por su propia boca. Listo.
Exacto. Bueno, gracias, raza. Estamos ahí. I'll see you guys in the next show. Bye.
Bye.
¿Cómo hace el efecto?
Oh.